Insurance. For your free quote, call Select Quote at 1-800-330-1991. That's 1-800-330-1991. Or go to selectquote.com. That's 1-800-330-1991. WWL First News. I'm Tom Perumian on your official weather station, WWL.
It's a quiet but chilly start to our day. Today will feature plenty of sunshine with our temperatures warming into the upper 70s this afternoon, with humidity staying low and no rain in the forecast.
Your local weather expert, WWL TV meteorologist Michelle Morgan. 3 people, one of them an infant, shot in New Orleans East last night. WWL TV's Mike McDaniel has the details.
Police say 3 people were shot at the intersection of Chef Highway and Wilson Avenue. One of the victims is an infant who had a graze wound. Police have not specified if the other victims are adults, only identifying them as one male and one female. If you know anything about this shooting that could help investigators who are to call Crime Stoppers, that's the number on your screen, 504-822-1111.
A person was struck and killed by an RTA bus on Canal Street. It happened after 10 p.m. at the corner of Canal and Elk Place. Arriving NOPD officers found the victim lying in the street near a bus stop. He was declared dead at the scene. Investigators determined the bus had dropped off passengers and was pulling out when the rear of the bus struck the man. RTA and the bus driver are cooperating with the investigation. NOPD is still searching for an escapee from custody. WWLTV's Whitney Miller has the story.
This happening at the 5th District Station. They say 20-year-old Dewan Miles was in handcuffs when he got away. Police set up a search perimeter near North Claiborne Avenue and Pauline Street. NOPD says officers executed a search warrant and arrested 4 people. They were taken to the 5th District for further processing, and that's where police say Miles, a juvenile, and a juvenile suspect both escaped. The juvenile was quickly recaptured.
In WWL Sports,
This WWL Sports Update is brought to you by People's Health. LSU's bats were rolling Saturday afternoon at the Fox against Central Connecticut State. Dugas hammers this one. No question about it, only will it hit the scoreboard, and it goes right below the scoreboard. A towering flag for Gavin Dugas, number 4 on the year for him. Behind 20 hits and 4 home runs, 2 by Tommy White and 1 by Gavin Dugas and Kate Peloso, LSU's offense roared in a 26-4 victory yesterday. 26 runs is the most the Tigers have scored in a single game since 2014. LSU's offense will look to stay hot when they face off against the Blue Devils again this afternoon. First pitch is at 1 with pregame at 12:30 here on the home of LSU Sports, WWL. Meanwhile, LSU women's basketball picked up their second loss of the season in heartbreaking fashion, losing 69-67 to Tennessee in the semifinals of SEC tournament. The Lady Tigers will figure out their placement in the NCAA tournament during Selection Sunday on March 12th, and the LSU men's team will play in the first round of the SEC tournament on Wednesday night after dropping their season finale to Florida 79-67. They'll look to get revenge on the Georgia Bulldogs, who used a last-second bucket to beat them on February 14th. Charlie Long, WWL Sports.
now your Garcia Roofing forecast on WWL.
Plenty of sunshine in the forecast today, with temperatures climbing into the upper 70s. The humidity staying low. Overall, a quiet setup, and as we head into tonight, overnight temperatures are expected to fall into the lower to middle 60s, and some fog is possible early Monday morning. It's going to be a very warm day on Monday, with daytime highs back into the lower 80s, mostly sunny conditions, and the humidity gradually increasing. From the Local Weather at the Forecast Center, I'm WWL TV meteorologist Michelle Morgan.
And I'm Tom Perumian, WWL First News. From WWL, big news, talk, sports powerhouse of the Gulf South, it's All Things Legal with Doug Sunseri and Albert Nicaud. Underwritten by Nicaud and Sunseri Law Firm. Join us on the Oakland Heart Jewelers Talk and Text lines, 504-260-1870, or connect anytime, anywhere on the Odyssey app. Now, to our Jefferson Financial Credit Union studios in the heart of New Orleans, here are attorneys Albert Nicaud and Doug Sunseri.
Hey, good morning. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers, all things legal. Give us a call, 260-1870, or text us at on Oakland Heart Talk and Text line Good morning, Albert.
Hey, Doug, how are you, man?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. Beautiful day. Uh, what's happening on your end?
And heading back from Pensacola today. Had a long weekend for my wife Erin's birthday, and we'll be back in a little bit and just doing things on the phone today.
Tell Tommy Williams. I'm assuming if you're in Pensacola, you were with Tommy Williams, right?
Visited with him yesterday. Yeah, he came in at a farmer's market. It's actually a pretty big deal, like 3 blocks long, on Halifax in downtown Pensacola, and we did that. And Tommy came and met us, and we went and had a little beer afterwards. It was fun. Good time.
Gotcha. All right. I don't know where to start. Hey, did you watch the Pelicans Friday night? They played Golden State.
I did not. I heard they lost it in the end, though.
Yes. They were up by 17 at one point. I think 14 at the half, and sort of ran out of gas. You know, it's a tale of two seasons. You had at this time, C.J. McCollum had just been traded to the Pelicans with Larry Nance, and they were ascending at the time. They were starting. They lost their first couple of games after C.J. was traded, and then they started on a tear. And this year, you began the year on a tear because I think they were 11 games over 500 at some point, maybe 24-13, and now they're trying to survive to stay within the 10th seed. So it's been a inverse type of year, basically with the same players, and it's sort of perplexing, at the least.
Well, and I think what happened was they kind of went on a little run when Brandon Ingram was out, and they played well together. And I've seen it happen a lot where all of a sudden your superstar comes back and they get the ball and spend 10 seconds dribbling and doing whatever, and everybody else is just kind of watching, like not moving and not participating. Maybe somebody's setting a high stance, or but there's not a lot of team play, and you only see spurts of it when somebody steals the ball or there's a fast break or something. But otherwise, it's give it to Brandon Ingram and get out of the way. Well, he's a great player. Don't get me wrong. He's scoring 30 and 35 points a game, but they're losing. And so, something needs to be done to correct that. And then what happens is somebody like, Trey will get an open three and maybe not take it because he's still kind of thinking, well, am I supposed to shoot this? Or it's just, it's sad to see. And something needs to be done to correct it very soon. The funny part is, they're only like 3 games out of the 5th spot.
Right.
So
They still have.
It's pretty bunched up in the West.
Right.
And so, you go on a little winning streak, before the end of the season, and you can actually not just make it, but have a decent draw. And
Yeah.
Have to play,
The play-in.
the top team.
Yeah, you want to play the play-in. Well, I always give you props for this. Back 4 years ago, you had said, "Do not pay the money to Michael Thomas," and we saw how that worked out. Were you a proponent for paying Zion $233,000? A million. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I was nervous because in his senior year, he hurt his foot, and he's a big man. And what happens is, I was talking to my friend Wallace last night about this. I said, you got a guy whose muscles are strong, whose bones are strong, but the joints are just not knit to carry that kind of weight and that kind of explosion and that kind of everything else. And, so I was just worried about his ability to stay on the court. Clearly he's a superstar, and if you're going to get the first round pick in a lottery, you can expect to pay that kind of money. And look, what I love about him is he's on the court, he's traveling with them. You know what I mean? Some of these guys I'm going to go rehab somewhere else and just kind of not care. But he's into it. He's cheering them on. He wants to be on the court. And I know they keep holding him out, but if they hold him out too much longer, I don't know how much,
how effective he'll be. Yeah.
Not guaranteed a spot in the playoffs.
Well, I do think he's going to have to do something different to maintain viability in his career. In other words, I think he needs to do some type of different type of preparation in order to make, to be viable, and which would probably be a huge commitment, a 24/7 commitment on how to live, and weight maintenance, stretching, and for a 21-year-old kid to do that, and I'm saying kid, young man, I watch, like some players. My favorite player to watch is Jimmy Butler. He is a consummate pro in every aspect. I do like CJ McCollum. He's a consummate pro. And I think probably Zion's success in the future will be his ability to mature from a young man, which we all at 21, uh, have a lot of growing to do, to a person who becomes a consummate professional where he understands that every minute of his life as an NBA player, he's going to have to be conscious about weight, conscious about, has an extraordinary build, extraordinary body, as far as being able to address, through exercise, through stretching, 24/7, to minimize the possibility of injuries. And, I think that's going to be the key to his success. He can't do what the other players do,
Well, the other part of it is, in terms of that, is you don't play 1,000% every play.
Yeah.
You got too many games, you got too many back.
Pacing yourself, yeah.
You play every other day, and it takes its toll. And I'm not saying take a play off. I'm just saying, give it a 75% speed every once in a while as opposed to 110%. And he'll get the ball and just charge to the lane, and like somebody said after they played him, he's playing football and we're playing basketball.
Right.
And I think he's that's what he's wired to do, and that's how he plays. But he needs to kind of chill a little bit, and his body won't take such a toll every time he plays.
Yeah. And also, just turning to the Saints real quick, off season, you sort of have the combine right now, but the Derek Carr issue is pretty much most prominent on the Saints, with the Saints. Derek Carr, maybe look at the Jets, Carolina Panthers, Saints, but he said his people set a market at $35 million. And I'm thinking that's fool's gold. I just don't see him as a $35 million quarterback. I think he's average, somewhere in the 20s. No. So, somebody probably will pay it. They've paid Deshaun Watson an obscene amount of money. Daniel Jones is saying he's looking for $45 million. Paying Kyler Murray an obscene amount of money. And I think one of the things that they have to start assessing in professional sports is they're going to have to start doing psychological profiles on the players as to whether they can handle this money. You've had too many players. The wide receiver from Pittsburgh, Antonio Brown. Yeah, Antonio Brown. You threw him a bucket of money, and he flaked out. Michael Thomas, in essence, flaked out in a lot of different ways, even though in other ways besides his physical injuries. And so I think what a lot of these teams will have to start doing is doing, real profiles to say, does this person have the ability to handle $250 million or $200 million, $150 million? Now, I'm not saying that because I think there's a lot of regret. And as a lawyer, a lot of times, or in business, a lot of times the best deal that you make is the deal that you don't make. And I think if we look at it last year, the Saints were trying to get Deshaun Watson, and there's no way in heck that I think if you gave up 3 first round picks, a couple of second round picks, that Deshaun Watson is worth it. I think the deal that the Saints didn't make in chasing Deshaun Watson will have stopped their, would have been devastating to the franchise for maybe in the next 5 to 10 years. Because we're not sure that he's going to be able to handle it. And so, again, I sort of feel that way about Derek Carr at $35 million. Again, I'm not saying he's any better, but I would rather have a Baker Mayfield at $7 to $10 million than Derek Carr at 35. I'm not saying Baker would do a better job, but I think he's better value, like a stock is concerned. Yeah. But we'll see. I don't know. It's just sort of interesting. It's it's sort of high stakes now, and I guess the market is what it is. I think a lot of the success of the Patriots and some of the other teams is not overpaying for players and actually getting rid of them before you have to overpay them.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly.
So.
Exactly. No, I agree.
Yeah.
And it's about finding that value player. I mean, and the Saints were great at it for many years. I mean,
but
the Pierre Thomases and the
right.
And the Colstons and those guys that they got in the late rounds that became superstars. And one of the reasons they became superstars is because they had Drew Brees thrown to them.
Right, that's true.
It's real easy to just turn around and get hit in the chest with the ball.
That makes you look good.
Yeah, it makes it a little better. So I don't know. We'll see what they come up with. I mean, I wouldn't mind a Baker Mayfield. I agree. I think that's where your value is right now. And then I think you have to go, quarterback, even if you have to trade up somehow, to find somebody that you can just put the house on and let that be your future quarterback.
Yeah, I think you would, I think where you get your value in the NFL now is through rookie contracts in the draft. Where you get, and I think a lot of the teams that have been successful, Patriots would often trade down, get extra picks, and have more first year or rookie contracts balancing off the big the veteran contracts. Now, one of the things that the Saints have done philosophically was they have not drafted. They will trade picks to move up. So, some teams are having 11, 12 picks. For the draft, the Saints have, 5, 6 picks. And, I think some teams' philosophy is if I'm going to pick 11, we think 6 will stick. But if you only pick 6, maybe 3 will only stick. And then you have to go into free agency to get those cheap contracts. And so it's just interesting. I think at this point, if you have a superstar player, if they're going to sign Derek Carr, you're going to need a bunch of draft picks to have those rookie contracts and hope they come in and perform to balance out the salary cap. Now, the other thing the Saints are doing is they're doing the same thing that they're doing the last 4 or 5 years. They're kicking the can down the road on restructuring these contracts. What they're doing is they're turning their base salary into signing bonuses so they can put it out, but the credit card's going to become due. So they,
which is one other reason I think.
Yeah. So
one could have been our mayor in our politics, but the other you got to think is that I don't want to come back to this team with no quarterback.
Yeah.
And no. And no future in terms of salary cap. I don't want to have to be playing that game. And it's going to, look, you're all that ego is going to reflect on me as the coach.
That's what happens. There's no long term, no more long term 4-year plans, 5 years plans. It's always a 1-year plan. Also, real quick before we go to break, LSU's playing softball against Central Kentucky State at 12:30 today. It was like when I used to umpire in college. It was one of those softball games where they get 30 hits games, and team scores 20. They just hit 5 or 6 home runs like the LSU hit 4 yesterday. And LSU women lost yesterday, so they're not going to play the finals in the SEC tournament. They will be a second seed, probably in NCAA. LSU also lost men's basketball to Florida. Season's almost over. It'll be over Wednesday when they play in the SEC tournament when they probably lose to Georgia. So there we go. Wanted to talk something interesting on the other side, Albert, about a conversation we had with the client as far as estate planning, and I think it'll be a beneficial discussion. So we'll be right back. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers, all things legal. We'll be right back after this brief time out.
WWL, home of Louisiana's great outdoors with Don Dubuque. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
There's so many different communities, cultures, and complexities.
And all I
I've spent most of my career trying to tell the stories from this city. Now I'm doing it in a different way. I'm Tom Trump, host of the Odyssey original podcast, The Tom Report. Each week, I'll take a unique approach to the news and affecting from the serious to the quirky. We'll consider it all. I hope you'll join me. Download, stream, and listen to The Tom Report, available on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
As an educator, Mr. Nelson's teachings are still being quoted in school.
Education is the most powerful weapon you can use to change.
Okay, so we can come back with the conversation that you guys want to have regarding
Yeah.
like, state and everything, but on the line we've got Monroe from Kinner.
Okay.
Regarding like will.
Yeah, that's good. Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
They inspire us today. Inspiration.
Albert says we should start.
Yes, absolutely.
100% certain about it. And to preface, his accent's a little strong. The first couple of times I heard him say will, it sounded like wheel. But
Yeah.
I just want to remind you, it's a will.
Will,
After
gotcha.
that, though, if we want to, we can circle to MJ from Metairie, who specifically wanted to ask you, Doug, about the thing about power of attorney.
Okay. Gotcha. Will and
And then
MJ.
following that is Thomas from East New Orleans, who actually called into the home improvement show yesterday regarding like trees falling down and like property law. And
Yeah.
they told him
To call us.
broadcasting the show to call this program.
Gotcha.
One game parlay wager with 4 legs or more. And if you miss one leg, you'll receive up to $25.
So yeah, we're gonna go to Monroe, then MJ, then Thomas. MJ did ask for anonymity. He wanted to.
Okay.
And that's the first thing asking about power.
Types, including team and player props. Options of the promotion, then place an NBA one-game parlay wager of 4 legs or more. And you'll get up to $25 back in bonus bets if you miss one leg. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly and offer resources to help you make appropriate choices. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions.
Must be 21 years of age or older to wager. Louisiana only. All promotions are subject to qualification and eligibility requirements. Rewards issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets. Bonus bets expire in 7 days from issuance. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700. In partnership with Samstown Shreveport Casino.
Spring is the perfect time for a refresh, and at Ashley, you'll find the pieces you love. Shop now with financing options for every budget. Get 60 months, no interest, with no down payment. Ashley's biggest event of the year is going on now. Shop hot deals starting at $199. Plus, shop Ashley Sleep Doorbuster mattresses. Your choice Comfort Queen mattress, now only $399. Text 79975 to schedule your appointment today. The Orange event is happening now. In-store only at Ashley.
How do you say je t'aime? I love you.
The lady Mary who called last week at the end of the show to ask about the LLCs in Wyoming.
Yeah.
She called back.
Okay, that's fine.
Every box from Oakland.
So we got a lot of people on hold.
Okay.
Visit ccc10k.com and sign up for the Crescent City Classics Run for It program. Help us raise $1 million for local charities. The 45th annual Adelphi Crescent City Classic. The race for all, y'all.
Hello, I'm David Figueroa, co-founder of Melinda's Craft Pepper Sauces. Over 30 years ago, my brother Greg and I set out on a mission to offer the world a better hot sauce. We felt that most hot sauces were just basic. And let's face it, basic is boring. Since introducing Melinda's original habanero pepper sauce, we've launched 31 more exciting and delicious sauces. like our ghost pepper sauce, our Thai sweet chili, and our newest and best-selling black truffle hot sauce. People ask us, what makes Melinda's so good? Well, we think it's our approach to making sauces. We think like chefs do. Instead of just burning someone with hot peppers and vinegar, we use fresh plant-based ingredients like carrots, onions, garlic, lime, and the finest chili peppers to set your mouth on flavor. They're really fantastic, and once you try one, you'll want to try more. We'd love for you to try them, and right now, you can get a 10-pack of our best-selling sauces with free shipping at melindas.com. That's melindas.com. melindas.com.
All things legal on WWL. Consult with Nico and Sunseri now on the Oakland Heart Jewelers Talk and Text line, 504-260-1870. And don't forget to rewind on the Odyssey app.
Hey, we're back. That's the Fat Man, huh? Albert? Is that Fats?
Absolutely.
Yes.
It's actually Smiley Lewis.
Oh, it's Smiley Lewis? I thought it was the Fat Man. You get in trouble for saying that now, the Fat Man. People get upset about that. Smiley Lewis. All right, Colin. Colin's our engineer. And I think, Colin, you're probably the only Gen X that listens to our show. Do you think there's any other ones? You probably.
I mean, maybe other women players.
Maybe some law students, huh? So I think we're going to want to make you the president of the Gen X fan club for All Things Legal. Will you do that?
I'll take it.
All right. Thank you, Colin. All right. Well, he's getting paid to listen, so he's actually getting paid to be the president of the Gen X. That's right. So not a lot though, but he's getting paid. Let's see. I'm trying to get you a raise, Colin. Let's see. Let's go to phone lines. Let's go to Monroe. Hey, Monroe, you on All Things Legal. What can we do for you?
Yes, good morning. I've called in a show several times over the
Yes, sir.
year or so. I have a question regarding my late mother's estate. My mother passed about 2 weeks ago in Alabama, Etowah County, Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as I know, and as far as her husband knows, she didn't have a will. So I received a letter from his attorney, meaning my mother's husband's attorney, and it's dated, it's labeled in the probate court of Etowah County, Alabama, and it says something to the effect of the undersigned, I guess meaning me, the undersigned over 19 years of age as heirs at law and next of kin of, Geraldine George, that's my mother, hereby accepts notice of the filing in the probate court of Etowah County of an application in writing by Alfonso Jordan, which is her husband, to be named administration of the estate of Geraldine George, deceased, in time appointed by said court. And then it says administration of said estate thereof waived further notice thereof, either by publication or by personal citation. Can you kind of explain that?
Well, it sounds like, yeah. It sounds like, now every state's a little different. It sounds like they're opening the estate, and it sounds like they're appointing her husband as the succession representative of the estate to conduct any type of transfers or activities. So I think it's just the opening. When you have the purpose, in a quick summary of probate, is if someone dies, in this case they die at will, basically you send in a notification to court that so-and-so died. Now, in absence of the will, the court, there's not specific direction as to what should happen thereafter as far as appointments of administrators. The law provides who would be the heirs or legatees or the heirs. And so basically you're basically informing the court, opening up a proceeding saying that so-and-so died, There's probably a statement about, was she married and had some children in Alabama and who they are. And that someone has to be appointed as the administrator. So they give a notification to you that they intend to appoint her husband as administrator. Now, what you can do in response to that is concur in that, say that, yeah, that's appropriate. Or if you think that there's a better choice for the administrator for some reason, this is your opportunity to petition the court to state who you think should be the administrator. Albert, you got anything to add to that?
No, that's pretty much it in a nutshell. I don't know what kind of relationship you had with her husband. If you feel like he's going to be fair and handling the estate and succession. And, keep in mind there's some rules and parameters. An administrator is a fiduciary, right? So they have a duty to all of the heirs to make sure that the proceeds from her estate are distributed in accordance with law, because there's no will till it goes to the default provisions of Alabama law, and that administrator is going to be someone who has to follow that law. We see it all the time when people delay things and people do things that are kind of, more in their benefit. But, if you guys have a good relationship and you don't have any objection, then I don't see any reason why you shouldn't go ahead and sign that contract and say, yeah, that's fine. Let's get him appointed, get it moved on.
Okay. So basically, this letter doesn't waive any of my rights as far as her estate is concerned.
No, it doesn't sound like it.
It
Yeah.
doesn't sound like it does. It sounds like it's just notification that they want to open up the succession, and that your stepfather-in-law is making application to the court to be the administrator.
Okay, I understand.
To be in
Well,
charge.
listen, I surely appreciate you all always help. Thank you very much.
All right, Monroe, and condolences to you for death of your mom. We're sorry about that. And so let's go to phone lines. How about Thomas? Is Thomas there? Thomas, you on all things legal with Sunseri and Albert Nicaud.
Good morning to Mr. Sunseri and to Mr. Nicaud. But my problem is this. They have some trees right next to our lot on my house, which I across the fence.
Mm-hmm.
The house is empty and it's owned by the city. Several are doing Katrina. One of the trees fell and knocked the roof off of my house. I had to leave town for 3 months. Waiting for where to leave town until they repaired it. The trees are constantly falling. There's been several that have fallen since then. When I call the city up, I know they own it because I've done a little research. They always tell me they're gonna get to it, but this has been going on now for close to 16 years. They say we're gonna send somebody out one time to cut the lot for 16 years, and they will not cut the trees down. I don't know what they expect me to do, or what can I do? That's why I saw you.
Huh. So,
Let me ask you this: Are you in position to maybe buy the lot from them?
Yeah.
They might want to get rid of it. But they just say, look, why don't you transfer the lot to me, and I'll go ahead and maintain it, cut the trees down, and expand my property.
Oh yeah. Well, I would. They want $30,000 for the lot. And it's not worth in the neighborhood, out there it's not working. They want me to, they want to sell it for $30,000 because they want you to pay all the back taxes and all that.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
And I don't do that, it's not worth it for me. But if they would give it to me, I'd take it and I'd clean it up. But I don't think they're going to do that. I think they're going to want some kind of money,
yeah, well, maybe you.
See if you can go negotiate with somebody over it. Say, look, this is what's been going on. Here's all my letters, here's all my everything else that I've been sending. And, they hear the pictures of the lot. Nobody's taking care of it. I'll give you, $5,000 for it. And then we can, whatever, something that you can afford. And then you don't have a problem.
You're still on the air. You don't answer. But after this, we're going to go to MJ.
I paid $5,000 for it, but I'm not going to pay $30,000. That's what they're.
And MJ's power of attorney.
It's not worth $30,000 because it's an empty lot. It's been empty now for almost 20 years, and
right.
Two of the people that lived in the house, but they both died, and so the city took the where it stands.
Yeah, I think every year they haven't.
At some point, you
Yeah.
just keep, like, get Doug's advice always, is to keep going above that person you talk to. Who can I speak to? Let me go there. I need to speak to a supervisor. I need to speak to your supervisor. You know, and just keep moving on that train until you find the right person. And bring documentation, bring photographs, if you still have them, photographs from your house after Katrina. You know, hey, look, this has been going on this long. What can we do? And then maybe you'll get to somebody in property division that can maybe, you know, work something out on the same.
Also, I go to your council person. That's what they're there for. That's what they're there for. And you know, who's your? I mean, I know Joe Geruso would. I don't know if he's your council person, but I know Joe would do. You know, he's very, very attentive. And you know, I would go to your council person and just sort of. And sort of be the squeaky wheel. That's what your council person is really there for. You know, those issues.
I would say, the reason why my 5,000 I would say that's what a lot. Not that I really want it, but I mean,
Hey.
all this stuff I would do it. But if they start talking about 30 and 40,000 like that, I'm not gonna pay that kind of money for a lot. I'm not gonna do nothing with it except just watch the trees cut down. That's all.
Albert, don't they put those properties up for auction every year? For tax sales.
Don't know the answer to that.
I mean, that's
something you can check on.
yeah, because I think they do an auction every year. Now, an auction meaning online auction, where you could buy. But now I don't know if you have to buy it to the taxes or you could put a bid in for a portion of the taxes. But I think that, you know, council person, that's why they're elected, to deal with those particular issues, quality of life issues for the day to day. They're not there for, you know, helping them get to their next office. They're there to help you for the issues that they have control over for your quality of life day to day. And a lot of times, I was just going to say also make friends with the administrative staff of the council person. Yeah.
If I cut the lot down on my own, and someone said you could just cut it down and then send them the bill, but I don't think they'd ever pay no bill.
No, they wouldn't. They would never pay it. But the other side is, if you cut it down, they probably will never notice. I didn't say that. So, all right. Thank you very much. All right. Now the other option, Albert, you could do is vote in the recall election that may or may not be happening in the next couple of months. Even though that sounded like that was a problem since the Nagin administration, but still, you could make your thoughts known about your day-to-day quality of life as an Orleans Parish resident by, you know, possibly voting in this recall election, which I got to give kudos to Eileen Carter and Belden Baptiste. They did a hell of a job slaying Goliath on this one. So they did a fantastic. And they also had the foresight to deal with or able to expose a recorder of mortgages of Orleans Parish, who I know what she's done for the last 5 or 10 years, but when you got dead people who've been dead since 2007 on the rolls, I don't think you've been doing your job. But anyway, let's go to a break. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers, all things legal. We'll be right back after this brief time out.
Hard time breathing through your nose. It can affect your sleep, exercise, and day-to-day life. Maybe you're at a point where you feel like it's normal to not be able to breathe and take a deep, satisfying breath through both nostrils of your nose. That's how it's supposed to be. Both nostrils.
Okay, so we did Monroe's with Thomas. We accidentally skipped over
Yeah.
Jay's, which we circle back to.
Okay, yeah.
Nasal sprays.
Since then, yeah, like I said, we had Mary, the caller from last week regarding the LLC in Wyoming. She said that she got that advice from a financial planner on YouTube.
All right, that's good.
New Orleans Science Center.
And then something to kind of like bring everything together is Justin, comment, but more importantly, you've got a question that kind of brings the law and the sports side of this together.
Okay.
He wants to know what's going to happen with Colin Montera in this one.
Okay. I'll let him know.
7911. That's 457-7911.
Bonjour, mes amis. Looking for the perfect gift? There's no better way to say I love you than with a pair of diamond stud earrings from Open Heart Jewelers. Let me read you this online review from Kristen. I purchased an absolutely beautiful pair of diamond stud earrings today at Open Heart. They treated me like a superstar. The thing is, the diamond stud earrings that come in a box from Open Heart, they're each a true work of art. An Oakland family member personally searches through hundreds of diamonds and chooses only those with the most fire and brilliance. Don't think for a minute that all diamonds are alike. Ours really sparkle, and you don't need a loupe to see the difference. Plus, we buy direct, so we bring you the best for less. And no matter how much you want to spend, we have a huge selection of diamond studs to choose from, in every price range, second to none. C'est magnifique, oui. There's a great work of art in every box from Oakland Heart on Metairie Road.
Is your Hurricane Ida insurance claim with your public adjuster stuck in neutral or going nowhere? Unfortunately, public adjusters do not have any enforcement powers to hold your insurance company accountable for the law. Many insurance companies will not deal with your Hurricane Ida insurance claim until the lawsuit is filed in court. We can help move your Hurricane Ida insurance claim across the finish line, even if you hired a public adjuster. Call me, Doug Sunseri, longtime WWL radio host and attorney at Nicaud and Sunseri Law Firm in Metairie and Mandeville at 504-837-1304.
There's an RV Super Sale going on now on I-12. 5 dealerships, hundreds of brands, thousands of motorhomes, travel trailers, fifth wheels, and toy haulers to choose from. The RV dealers at I-12 are coming together and they're having a party March 10th through 12th that includes millions of dollars in inventory at some of their lowest prices ever, thousands of dollars in savings, manufacturer reps on site, and immediate delivery. It's all happening on I-12, and you're invited to the Super Sale at Ben's RV, Berryland Campers, Great American RV Superstores, the RV Shop, Steve's RV Center, and at I12Supersale.com.
Are you a business owner doing your own bookkeeping? Why? It makes no sense, literally. Focus on what you do well, like growing your business, and let Accounting Services Unlimited handle your bookkeeping. Hi, this is Thomas Fonte. Accounting Services Unlimited is insanely affordable and will come to you. Call for a free quote. Accounting Services Unlimited, 504-717-6253. That's 717-6253. Or visit us at asu-llc.com.
Ready to remodel your home? Ready to get inspired?
Doug, do you have an opinion on Vase and Frankie Beverly or no?
Joe, the newest home products and ideas are waiting.
I generally like him. I'm not nuts about. I mean, he's not in my playlist, but I like him.
I might have to convince you.
All right.
Homegrown companies. The St. Tammany Home and Remodeling Show and Certified Louisiana Food Fest, March 4th and 5th at the Castine Center in Mandeville. Southern Coins and Precious Metals, once your gold and silver. See today's prices at southerncoins.com. This is an important notice to consumers facing $10,000 or more in credit card debt, medical bills, or other unsecured debt. You may not be required to pay it all back because there are special programs now in effect that will significantly reduce the amount you will owe if you qualify. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. These programs, which the credit card companies like to keep secret, exist to aid American consumers.
We're back in 30 seconds.
Okay.
By offering tremendous savings and real debt relief. Accredited Debt Relief has established a special hotline for you to call and learn what savings you qualify for. It helps qualify consumers with over $1 billion in debt and are A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. So don't wait. Get the relief.
It's MG, right? MG, we call him, or MJ?
MJ, yeah.
MJ.
Debt Relief Hotline.
MJ, right? Like Michael Jordan.
Yep.
Okay.
800-663-1313. That's 800-663-1313.
Oh.
All things legal on WWL-AMFM.com and the Odyssey app. Connect with Doug Sunseri and Albert Nicaud on the Oakland Heart Jewelers Talk and Text line, 504-260-1870.
All right, we're back. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers. Okay, Cullen said he's going to play some Frankie Beverly. And I'm like, I'm a fan, but he's not in the playlist. But he's got that Barry White vibe, you know? Like if... Yeah. Oh, I know he is. In Essex Festival. Yeah. I know. Well, it's that's like. Well, I'm not gonna say it. It's like nice music with your lady, right? Um. So, all right. Let's go to phone lines. Let's go to MJ. What you have for us, MJ?
Hey, how you doing, Albert and Doug?
Yeah.
I got a question to ask you. I have a will, and we're gonna do a power attorney next week. My wife is suffering a little dementia, and one of my daughters is on one of her bank accounts. But we also have
number one after this.
my daughter's the executor of my will, but we're gonna do a power attorney because I'm old school. I haven't done bills in 20 years. My wife's handled everything, so my daughter's been taking care of all the bills and everything. Now, what I'm asking you is, once I do this power attorney, I heard something or read something about a lady had a power attorney, and when she went to the bank didn't recognize it. They should have went to the bank before, things got worse.
If you have a power of attorney, well, first of all, you planning on having your wife sign a power of attorney shortly?
Yeah, me and my wife.
Okay, let me ask you this: is your wife in the initial stages of dementia, or is she advanced?
Yes, but she's an initial, but
okay, so
really doing bad. I mean, she don't even know what day it is.
That's an issue though, because when you have dementia, it depends on which stage. A lot of people who have dementia in early stages can sign legal documents because they have what is lucid intervals, or they have extended periods of time where they have full capacity to understand the consequences of their actions. So
she can't even answer a phone anymore.
Well, then she may or may not be able to sign. It doesn't sound like she'll be able to sign a power of attorney.
No, but once we go to the, I'm not worried about my wife. I'm worried about me because I'm in good health and all. But I want to give my daughter power of attorney to me because mainly the checking account. But what I'm asking you is, once I sign the power, do I have to bring my daughters over there to the bank and let them know that I signed the power of attorney?
But I think you're confused. Okay, you can't. A power of attorney, your wife will give you agency over her affairs. You will act as a representative. But the problem is, has your wife signed a power of attorney yet? No. Okay. The problem is, will that power of attorney be? I hear that. We were short in time, but the power of attorney. The question will be, if your wife signs a power of attorney, it may not be a valid power of attorney because she doesn't know what she's signing. That's what I'm saying.
But
you can sign one, and you can bring your daughter to the bank and say, "Look, here's the power of attorney I just executed. It includes a banking power of attorney."
But he hadn't signed one.
To make sure that the bank has a copy of it.
But
that way, she can sign documents on your behalf for the bank, pay your bills and all that sort of thing.
Okay. And see, my daughter does have power of attorney to her mother.
Okay, well then, if you, that's what I was trying to find out. If she does, then the power of attorney probably gives her authority for someone else to act on her behalf.
Right.
So you can use that.
The thing I'm worried about is I want to give power of attorney to my daughter on my account.
Yeah, well, you can do that. You can do that.
Okay, we're gonna do that.
Yeah, that's very a routine.
Should I go to the bank while I'm in still good health and bring my daughters and say, I signed this power?
No, all you have to do is sign a power of attorney, and then at the appropriate time when you want your daughter to start handling your affairs, you just give her the power of attorney. Say, here's the power of attorney we signed before, and act on my behalf. All right. Call us at 504-837-1304, 837-1304. If you got any more questions, we got to go to a hard break. Thanks for the call. Let's go to a break. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers. We'll be right back after this brief time out.
Home of the Home Improvement Show with Paul LaGrange. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Odyssey celebrates Women's History Month. Fearless females shape.
Okay, Mary said her conversation, if she wants to ask you guys, is going to go a little long.
Yeah, take her after the break. Yeah.
Like half an hour.
Yes. Okay. How long do we have when we come back?
We'll have enough time for you guys to take
Like about a minute or two?
Minute two, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll get a precise answer.
Okay.
Or download the free Odyssey app.
WWL is proudly sponsored by Dudley DeBosier Injury Lawyers. Call 504-444-4444. Non-attorney spokesperson, Chad Dudley, New Orleans.
Nobody's more proud of what Diamonds Direct offers than our own staff.
Our standards are the highest I've ever seen in the business, and I've been in this industry my entire life.
Not only do we have the most competitive pricing in the industry, but the whole package that you get with it is incomparable.
One thing that always surprises clients is how much further their budget will go with Diamonds
But
Direct.
way beyond value, what we're most proud of is our total commitment to each and every customer.
We go above and beyond for our customers so that if you
What about Harold Melvin and the Blue Nets?
Love them. Teddy Pendergrass.
Oh my God, all right, I can rock with that.
No matter what size assignment that you're looking for, we're going to take care of you, and we're going to make you feel fabulous.
the philosophy to take care of the customer is just amazing.
When clients come in, I think what they can feel is our passion.
I hope the next hour if you want to get some
Yeah.
callers on the line. We'll come back at the top of the next hour with Mary.
Duran Duran Future Past Tour. June 7th at Smoothie King Center. Duran Duran with two very special guests, Nile Rodgers and Chic. And Bastille. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Don't miss Duran Duran live. The king of queens.
How do you and your staff get things done? Teamwork. When a team works together, they can do anything. That's why all of us at Janny King, the king of clean, are excited to team up with you. At Janny King, our team has been working together for over 35 years, cleaning your places for work, education, medical attention, eateries, stadiums, and worship. Let our team help your team. Go to JannyKingCleans.com and trust your clean to the king. That's JannyKingCleans.com.
Janny King, the king of queens.
You've heard it said, he's a diamond in the rough. Or maybe, diamonds are forever. Here's something else I've learned about diamonds. They're just pieces of coal put under pressure for a long, long, long time. So when I start feeling like I want to give up, I think about that little piece of coal. And if that piece of coal can make something of itself by not giving up, so can I. Persistence is in you.
Pass it on.
From PassItOn.com.
It's time to think about your tax refund. And Jackson Hewitt wants you to think biggest.
We're back in about a minute.
We guarantee you'll get your biggest refund or your money back plus $100. Who offers that? Come to think of it, nobody. It's one of the biggest guarantees out there and why you can't just file with anybody. For your guaranteed biggest refund, go to Jackson Hewitt today. Your wallet will thank you. When every dollar matters, it matters who does your taxes.
I'm JR, CBS Sports Radio, and I want to introduce you to a new podcast titled Agents of Inclusion, brought to you by Special Olympics, Odyssey, and JR Sport Reproductions. Every Wednesday, we'll be speaking with a different Special Olympics athlete to share their stories of perseverance, accomplishment, and path towards inclusion.
15 seconds, just music. You can take it away whenever you want.
Okay.
Agent of Inclusion as well. Special Olympics, Agents of Inclusion, find it on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, we're back. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers, all things legal. Now, that was Teddy Pendergrass and Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes. Huh? You used to play that at your business and when you were in law school, huh, Albert? Your establishment.
Harold Melvin and Blue Notes from a Kenny Fender crash.
Yeah. Oh man, that's tough. That's tough. Yeah.
But, anyway, yeah, no, it was more of like an 80s kind of thing. And we did have oldies night on Wednesday, so that was fun.
Well, next door at the Parkway Tavern, they had a lot more oldies. It seemed like at the time.
Yeah.
They're.
Wednesday oldies night, we'd have food next door, so we'd get a lot of the sports teams that played, play ball, softball, football, or whatever. They'd come in and get a pizza and
That's right.
listen to oldies,
Yeah.
It was a good time.
They'd play out at West End, volleyball, baseball, and softball all over the place. And then they'd come to your place in Parkway Tavern and have an adult beverage or two. Good times. All right. We're going to go to national news and local news. We'll be back for hour number 2 on All Things Legal. Callers, Mary, hold on, and we'll get to you. So we'll see you in about 10 minutes on All Things Legal. Stay tuned.
Always live on the free Odyssey app. This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Liberty Mutual Insurance.
I'm Stacey Lynn in Washington. Another Norfolk Southern train ran off the tracks in Ohio. This one derailed in the Springfield area yesterday. Sean Houston saw it happen and says it was chaotic.
In your mind, you assume the train will just get back on the track and be okay, and then all of a sudden the cars start going left and right, and then you're like, this has got to be real.
Fire Chief Dave Negro.
There's no risk to public health, no risk to public safety, or drinking water at this time.
And no one was injured. Severe weather continues to threaten parts of the country. CBS's Joy Bennett.
In Northern California, there is no time to dig out as another storm blankets the Sierra Nevada. New England residents join the millions nationwide bracing for another winter storm. The strong system destroyed several homes across the South after bringing hail, tornadoes, and powerful winds.
And power still out for hundreds of thousands. Kentucky, Michigan, and Tennessee have most people still in the dark. After decades of talks, UN members have finally agreed upon a treaty to protect the world's oceans. Rebecca Helm is a marine biologist at Georgetown University.
This text represents the first real step in the global high seas treaty that will help protect biodiversity beyond national jurisdiction.
Reporter Alex Jensen in Seoul tells us why North Korea is calling on the UN for help.
North Korea's foreign ministry suggested the United Nations should put a halt to U.S.-South Korean joint military drills. While the North views such exercises as war preparations, the allies say they're defensive in nature.
A big announcement from Maryland's former Republican governor. Larry Hogan told CBS's Face the Nation.
I did give it serious consideration. I talked to people everywhere, and I talked to my family, and it was a tough decision, but I've decided that I will not be a candidate for the Republican nomination for president.
Many thought he would be a possible alternative to former President Trump. You can see that full exclusive interview on today's Face the Nation. The Kids' Choice Awards went down last night. One of the big categories was Favorite Movie Actor.
And the blimp goes to my boy, Dwayne Johnson Black.
Aloha, guys, from me to all of you. I am so honored to be chosen.
He accepted his award from home. His 2 daughters got to slime him. Other big winners were Wednesday, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Taylor Swift was a big winner, and Harry Styles, and there was so much sliming in last night's show. You can watch it on Netflix. This is CBS News.
Nobody should have to pay for one-size-fits-all insurance coverage. Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance so you only pay for what you need. Liberty Mutual Insurance.
What people see when they Google you, search engines don't always get it right. And when they're wrong, it's your reputation on the line. So what do you do when you don't agree with your search results? Call Reputation Defender at 800-401-6681. Reputation Defender by Norton is one of the most trusted names in online reputation repair. We have over a decade of experience in fixing people's search results, and we can help you too. Using cutting-edge approaches, Reputation Defender pushes unflattering information down to lower pages of your search results, where few people ever look. the top, letting you put your best foot forward. Your good name is too valuable to leave to the whims of a Google algorithm. You owe it to yourself to take control with Reputation Defender. Visit www.reputationdefender.com or call 800-401-6681 for free advice on your situation. 800-401-6681. That's 800-401-6681.
WWL First News. I'm Tom Perumian on your official weather station, WWL.
A bit chilly to start off the day this morning. Things will warm up nicely as we go through the afternoon hours, back into the middle to upper 70s for everyone. Some spots might even hit 80. Overall, looking at a nice day. The humidity will be low and no rain in the forecast.
Your local weather expert, WWL TV meteorologist, Michelle Morgan. Slidell's first homicide case of the year was a double shooting. WWL TV's Sam Winstrom reports from the scene.
The St. Tammany Parish coroner identified the victims in shooting as Carrie and Miguel Doucette, two brothers who were killed in front of their Terrace Avenue home in Slidell. Police say the shooting started as an argument.
We see this all too often where, unfortunately, in today's society, when you confront somebody, you just don't know what you're going to be dealing with, and that's what happened today.
Slidell police say 41-year-old Mario Scott killed the two men, then fled through New Orleans into Jefferson Parish, where he was arrested by Jefferson Parish Sheriff's deputies that afternoon. Scott was booked as a fugitive and will be sent back to Slidell, where he faces 2 counts of first-degree homicide.
3 people, one of them an infant, were shot last night in New Orleans East. It happened on Chessman Tour Highway at the intersection with Wilson Avenue around 7:30 in the evening. All made their way to a hospital for treatment. The infant victim was grazed and admitted to the hospital. No other information about the incident has been learned. Here's Charlie Long with WWL Sports.
This WWL Sports Update brought to you by People's Health. LSU baseball had no problem with Central Connecticut State yesterday. Tiger fans, meet Tommy Tanks.
This ball is demolished to right field. No doubt about it, Tommy White with another home run today, a 3-run shot this time. Again, Oppo into the community company habitat. That one took no time to get out of here. 357 feet and left the bat at 100 miles an hour.
Star-designated hitter Tommy White went 3 for 3, crushing 2 home runs and a 26-4 rout of the Blue Devils. Number 1 LSU improved to 9-1 overall thanks to their offensive explosion featuring 20 hits and a 7-inning game. Todd Boyd got the start on the mound for the Tigers, picking up his second win of the year with 5 2/3 innings of work. He allowed 1 run on 3 hits with 6 strikeouts. The two teams battle it out again this afternoon. You can listen to pregame coverage at 12:30 with first pitch at 1 here on WWL. LSU basketball fell short of the SEC Tournament Championship game after losing 69-67 to 3-seeded Tennessee in the semifinals. And after losing 79-67 on the road to Florida, LSU men's basketball enters the SEC men's tournament as the 14th seed. They'll play 11-seeded Georgia Wednesday night. Charlie Long, WWL Sports.
Now, your Garcia Roofing forecast on WWL.
Starting rather chilly across southeast Louisiana, things will warm nicely as we go through the remainder of the morning, and later this afternoon, daytime highs are expected to climb into the upper 70s. No rain in your forecast, the humidity staying low. And as we head into tonight, a few clouds will move in and overnight temperatures falling into the lower to mid 60s across the area. Patch and dense fog is certainly possible early Monday morning. And as we go through your Monday afternoon, we're back into the 80s, lower 80s. The humidity will gradually climb under mostly sunny conditions. The rest of the week staying mostly dry and temperatures in the middle 80s. From your local weather forecast center, I'm WWL meteorologist Michelle Morgan.
And I'm Tom Perumian, WWL First News.
From WWL, the news, talk, sports powerhouse of the Gulf South, it's All Things Legal with Doug Sunseri and Albert Nicaud. Underwritten by Nicaud and Sunseri Law Firm.
We still have Mary, so we'll go to her.
Yeah.
504-260-1870 or connect anytime, anywhere on the Odyssey app. Now, to our Jefferson Financial Federal Credit Union Studios in the heart of New Orleans, Albert Nicaud and Doug Sunseri.
Hey, we're back. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers, all things legal. Hour number 2, we're on till 10 o'clock. And we'll be on pretty much every week until Saints football season. And also today, keep tuned in to WWL, AM, FM, Odyssey.com. WWL is your home for LSU baseball. Today, LSU plays again Central Connecticut State. Catch the Tigers against the Blue Devils for game number 2. Pre-game 12:30, first pitch 1. Now, I wonder if they have on the betting lines as to whether this game will make 9 innings or not. What do you think, Colin? You think it'll make? What would be the odds? You think 15? 15 would be the over or under. Does it make to 7 innings or to 9 innings? Does it make it to 9 innings? I would put.
I just don't want them to use the ball their energy up there.
I'm telling you, when you got Cade Beloso, like 5 or 6 deep on the bench, you have a team. And because Cade could probably start for any D1 team in the nation. And they go 20 deep. I mean, 15 deep batters, and the pitchers are just unbelievable. It'll be like a softball game, where you watch, 20, 25. But maybe another 20. I don't think they'll get 20 runs, but I think there's a good chance it won't go 9 innings. Get used to it this year. Well, we start the SEC in 2 weeks against Texas A&M. So that'll be next week. I think they play Sanford, and then it gets real. So, all right. Well, let's go to the phone lines. We got Mary. She's been holding on through the break. Hey, Mary, you on All Things Legal. How can we help you?
Hey, good morning, Doug.
Good morning.
Thanks to you and Albert for all that you do for this community, coming on and helping us with various problems.
Oh, thank you.
My thing is that I was watching YouTube, and I was watching a tax attorney program, and he had clients that have many rental properties. Mm-hmm. And so somebody wanted to sue this client. It could have been the kid got in a car accident. It could have been something unrelated to the properties. But the plaintiff's attorney looked up, they researched what you own, and then they want to take all of that. And so he said the answer is you should have your assets in an LLC out of the state of Wyoming, if I understood this right, and that makes it invisible. So when the plaintiff's attorney makes the search, he doesn't see that you own all that. Could you talk about that?
Well, a lot of this is risk assessment. And there's ways you can do that in Louisiana right now with trust, where a lot of it would be, I guess, invisible or not subject to seizure, or there's a lot of different financial advising techniques, and I was going to talk about this today. I was in the beginning of the show. What you have to do is assess the risk and decide whether the proposed, plan of action is necessary for the risk. And I had a financial advisor tell me once I should have a similar safe LLC. And I asked him why. And he really couldn't ask the why. I said, what liability do I have that's not insured? What liability do I have that is such a high risk that I need to take the expense of doing that? And, moving all these things around. And I'm sure there's something that could possibly happen, but the question is the real risk out there justify the expense of eliminating that risk? And if you're in a high risk business, if you're a contractor and you sign bonds, or where you have big potential liabilities, absolutely. But you have to depend on what is the activity and what are you doing. Albert, what do you think?
Yeah, so
having an LLC in Wyoming is probably not going to do a lot, because if they get a judgment against you, then what they end up doing is something called the judgment debtor rule or judgment debtor examination, where they have the right to put you under oath, make you provide them with all of your personal financial documents, and ask you a lot of questions about it. And so if you have an LLC in Wyoming and you have a personal tax return, then the income from that LLC, whether or not it's, it's screened and from people finding out that you're a member of that LLC, your tax return is going to show that. And it's going to show income from that. And so that's going to lead them to be able to find those assets. So if on the other hand, you own an LLC or own real estate, and I have a few pieces of rental income, property and some income from that, and there is risk. So I'll put them in an LLC, because if something should happen that would extend beyond the extent of my liability insurance, I don't want them coming after me personally. So then the only thing they would be able to seize is the asset itself. And so, and I keep it separate, and I don't commingle, et cetera, et cetera. So, that's the liability from one direction, meaning from the LLC. The other is the personal liability, where then they can go get your LLC's asset. And like Doug said, it's a question of risk. And if you don't own an LLC and you have a substantial liability policy, it's probably going to handle 99% of any claims that that might be out there. And the reality of it is, most plaintiffs' attorneys are not in the collection business. They're in the get as much of the insurance proceeds as possible and move on to the next case. They're not going to want to go after someone individually and personally and spend all this time, money, and effort on the hope that this person has enough assets to cover the loss. So you're mostly protected, I would say, if you have the right amount of insurance, and discuss that, what you can afford versus what your insurance agent might recommend, and then from that point on, you just maintain your properties, and you maintain your you don't get fights, and you don't do the sort of thing.
Also, you can get a umbrella coverage, to cover any other liabilities up, for several $1 million. So to me, that's more pragmatic to do. And we're going to have a discussion after this about what is really fear sells. Fear sells a lot of products. The question is whether the fear is warranted or unwarranted. And so what I tell people is, don't buy based on unwarranted fear. Buy or plan on warranted fear. And so, that's what because a lot of people make money off of selling unwarranted fear. And so that's what you have to sort out as a consumer. But
we do the same thing in estate planning.
that's where we were going.
Look at what is, we want to try to plan for contingency, but we start with what is most likely. The husband's 70, the wife's 50. It is most likely that the husband's going to die first. And so you kind of start there with your planning, and then of course you plan for the contingency that she might pass before death. But it's all about being reasonable and looking at what what's most likely.
More's not.
You always have to plan for other contingencies, but you can't
plan for everyone.
Get crazy with it. Well, what if everybody I know dies? Who do I leave? That kind of thing. I mean, it's so unlikely. And so let's see what's most likely. And if everybody you know dies at that point, does it really matter, right?
But it's more is not always better. And like Albert said, you never see a Morris Bart commercial saying, "Have you been hit by an uninsured car? We don't care whether you have insurance or not. We just believe in justice." You don't hear those commercials because they understand that if it's uninsured, like Albert said, most attorneys aren't interested in pursuing because they're not collection. There's a reason credit card companies write off about 98% of delinquent accounts, because it's too expensive to collect. And and so similar, if you got, to me, if you got umbrella insurance and you got rental property, you're pretty much covered. I don't know that there's any real liabilities. Sometimes if you own a business, insurances may not cover assault and battery, maybe, or a bar. Now, if you're in a situation like that, you can do other things that's not quite as extreme to minimize your liability. But where the business is owned by one LLC and the property is owned by another one. So there's things you can do to protect there, but I think you just want to be reasonable because you don't want to plan and pay a lot of money for unwarranted fear.
Well, you said something about trust, where if you establish a trust, it's not subject to seizure. Would that be like your home? They couldn't take it if it was in a trust?
No. Well, what I'm saying is if you wanted to maintain anonymity, okay, in certain aspects, there's a lot of creative things you can do where you can, maybe own property and not have it subject to immediately trace back to you, or you could have trust own it. You could have. My point in saying there's several techniques to help accomplish the objective you're trying to accomplish without being so invasive or spending so much, going to such extremes. That's all I was trying to say. So you say basically what we do is we sit down and you say, okay, what are your concerns? Find out if they're, realistic or valid concerns, or something that is a concern that's, 1 in a million issue. And then figure out what's a way to address it that's comfortable for you and also efficient. Okay. More is not always better. All right. Well, thank you, Mary, for the call. Okay. Albert, I wanted to sort of extend this discussion a little bit because the couple of things we had, and I had a similar situation where a client came in and said he had read publications saying you should do all these trusts and all these things to protect your money, and I'm like, well, what's your concern? And he really couldn't come up with the concern. I said, well, why do you want to do all this work that's probably several $1,000s for an issue that you don't encounter? And, we talked it through and got, not all it could be addressed was a 2 or 3 page will and a power of attorney. But, recently I had a lady from Florida who was very anxiety ridden because she had a 68-page trust on her estate. 68 pages from a financial advisor or estate firm out of Florida. And very modest estate. And I asked her, I said, well, what are you scared of? What are you fearful of? What do you want to happen when you leave this earth? And I said, well, we don't need 68 pages to do that. And we accomplished all her objectives in a 3-page will and a power of attorney. Right. And I think, I'm not saying that's appropriate in all times, but more is not always better. And, I think, some of these provisions in this trust was, what's going to happen if we have a zombie apocalypse and her house is struck by lightning 3 times? What are we going to do in that situation? And I was telling her, I said, do you really think this is going to happen? I mean, if it does, we're all in trouble. So, I don't think more is always better. And I think what you do is, instead of trying to sell some kind of outrageous, 50-page trust, you just sit down with someone and say, what do you need, and build from there. And I mean, I know that's, what are your comments, Albert?
No, I mean, and I agree. Whenever somebody says, hey, I want to get a trust prepared for me, and I'm like, okay, tell me why. Well, I don't know. I mean, I saw it on TV, and happened is so many estate planning attorneys had a lot of valid reasons to enter into trust or have their client execute trust when the federal estate tax was $600,000. The exemption was up to $600,000. But now it's like 11.4 million or some outrageous amount per
12.
person. So if you're a couple, it's over $22 million. And so most people, that deal with this, don't have that kind of money, so they don't have to. They don't have a whole lot of asset protection from a federal estate tax perspective to deal with. So, it's just not, it's not feasible to go through all of these gyrations with this extensive estate planning just to protect yourself from estate taxes. And so, because of that, people have come up with these revocable trusts and all these other things that I'm like, to avoid probate. Well, probate is just not an expensive process.
Yeah.
Many years ago. But if you have the typical, spouse in a house and some vehicles, maybe a piece of property here and there, it's just, it's more often than not overkill. And it's not worth it. You can get it done a lot easier and a lot
efficiently. Yeah.
And it's just a lot easier from a succession perspective to just have a basic will and that provides for very many things. But look, the people that really need some guidance, the blended families, the same-sex couples, the couples without children. So wait, what happens if I die? It all goes to my spouse, and if my spouse dies, it all goes to his side of the family. Well, that's not how we want to do it. So we got to figure out a way to make it even, to where upon the death of the second person, the money split between the two families or the two, however they want to go. So those are the kinds of people that really need some help with figuring all this out. And the whole trust thing is very often overkill. And again, there are many reasons why you should have trust, but there's many more probably why you should.
Yeah, in fact, and it's just, and I think a lot of it has to do with partial information from the internet or from a maybe a person in the finance industry or maybe in a local ballroom, but either or, they just come in with some preconceived notions. And I had someone say, I'm worried about if I die, I'm gonna have to pay taxes. On I said, well, are you worth $24 million? And they say no. I said, okay, end of discussion. We don't have to talk about that anymore. Because the exemptions actually this year it's 12 million, I think 60,000. So between a husband and wife, it's 24 million, which is about 0.01% of United States. So let's go to a break. I want to extend the discussion a little bit more about people getting married later in life and blended families, how that's a little different, and that requires not so much trust, but bears additional discussion on how to do estate plans. So we'll be right back after this brief timeout and all things legal. See you in about 3 minutes.
WWL, home of all things legal with Sunseri and Albert Nicaud. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Justin on the line if you want to take it.
Yeah.
He's Justin. He could wait if you want.
Yeah.
He's fine with waiting.
Yeah. Just have them wait because we're gonna finish this discussion.
We can take it if we want. If we don't,
Yeah, we'll take it after the next segment. Yeah.
Yeah. Because again, his thing isn't related to what you guys
Yeah.
are discussing. He had a comment, but he also kind of wanted to know legally what was going on with this Alvin Kamara situation. I think you're the perfect guy to talk to about that since you're a sports fan. You know, you got the legal insight and the fan insight.
Yeah. No. Well, I used to work for the Saints back in the day. That was my other career. Yeah.
Back in about a minute.
Wow.
Coming back in 15 seconds.
Okay.
Now, for all things legal, underwritten by Nicaud and Sunseri Law Firm. All advice given and opinions shared are solely those of attorneys Albert Nicaud and Doug Sunseri. Back to WWL.
Hey, we're back. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers, making the complex understandable. Now, Colin, is that the 5 satins? No, I knew it was 5 satins. That that was a late 1959, 1958, somewhere around there. That was 4 years before I was born. But I saw, I got into that because when I used to ride in the back of the car and I used to listen to a station, WBYU, with my grandparents, and they would have Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, and then Sammy Davis Jr. And also they would play doo-wop, and I just loved it. And so I think I was born about 20 years too late when it comes to musical taste. But let's go back to our discussion about more not always being better, because we were, I think, and this is me editorializing. I think a lot of times, if you could create more fear and create more contingencies, you can create more of a more expensive product. And I think one of the times, what you have to do is just really, like we were talking about before, Albert, is see what risk is realistic and see what risk is not realistic and build around that. Because if you're a businessman and you always make your decisions based on risk and unwarranted risk, you'll never do a deal. I mean, there's certain things that you can't contemplate, and it's too expensive to contemplate. But I think you start from ground zero rather than trying to be sold something that's a one size fits all that covers every risk, because you're probably overpaying it. Now, one thing that is sort of unique that often bears discussion is for example, a lot of people are getting remarried at an older age. And this is one thing, when you have an estate consult, which is sort of difficult. Let's say you had a couple that was remarried in its 70s, and they both bring in different income disparities, and they bring in their own set of kids. And okay, how do you deal with this issue? And this is very interesting. If one of the husband and wife has to go into assisted living, where they might have to pay several thousand, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 a month due to some type of condition, where does the money come from? Does it come, let's say in this case, it was dad or husband. Does the husband's money before the marriage come in to pay for this care? Does the money that was accumulated during the new marriage pay for it? Or does it come from, the spouse's money? Because, the spouse's children are saying, hey, this should go from the husband's money, and the husband's kids say, no, it's their marriage. It should come from both. And, those are the kind of questions that, warrant discussion, and, you have to, or real problems. And it's sort of an interesting thing, Albert. I don't know if you ever come across that particular situation, but it's happening more and more. And, also too with, blended families. If you got his, hers, and ours, and there's income disparities, those are some hard questions. Now, the document you have to address it isn't that complicated, but getting to what you want to do is sometimes some difficult questions on how to deal with it, especially if some of the children are younger children, some of them are adults and have careers. It's just those are the kind of estate issues that require a lot of discussion and are real issues among a husband and wife.
Right. No, absolutely. And so, I think a lot of these things happen without consulting an attorney, right? So they have the husband and the wife gets sick, and she's in a nursing home, and the husband's got needs and assets, and he's decided, you know what, I'm just going to pay to have her needs taken care of. And so, but then the husband's children are like, well, wait a minute, you're depleting our assets, and I get it that you love our stepmother and want to take care of her, but she's got money too, and let her money take care of her, and not your money or even the community property money. So those are things that you need to have a discussion about. Look, and if the dad decides, hey, look, this is what I want to do, and then it's his money, and the kids, should have a say so in it. Anyway, so we run into things like that with the use of trust, right? And
yeah.
A lot of people don't understand that with the use of trust, where you have a duty. If I have a use of trust as a surviving spouse, and there are children with naked ownership, then the children with naked ownership, whatever that dollar amount is that is in that judgment of possession, as to what they're entitled have to account to that upon your death. When you die, they
get
money
it.
first.
Yeah, off the top.
That belongs to them. And then the rest, and after that, your children get it. And so the stupid is to not spend it all before, before there's nothing left for either one to get.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And it's a funny, interesting question on usufruct is when you got a husband and wife and you ask them, is it a lifetime or upon remarriage? Because it's always an interesting question because it's probably a question they never thought about before. And because if you die, does your wife or your spouse, do they get your usufruct until they would get remarried or for the rest of their life? Because the question would be, all right, remarriage, then the children would get the property upon remarriage. Now, or if it's lifetime, the concern would be, well, the new spouse would be benefiting by the usufruct. So at the expense of maybe they could. Yeah.
Much of this law from the Civil Code on was written
In the 1800s.
by wealthy for the wealthy.
Yeah.
And so, and back in the 1800s when this was all done, the women did not work, and so and so out of the home. And so what would happen is, the theory is that once you became remarried, then the new husband would take care of it.
We can finish up
Yeah.
where we want.
Any longer because now you've got someone else taking care of your needs. And again, realistically, typically the male guy first.
Right.
And so they look at it that way and say, hey, look, if you want to, that's why by law, if it's a usufruct by law and not with a will, then it's only until remarriage. And at the time of the remarriage, then the usufruct terminates. And I often put in my wills, if they do that, they call it remarriage or evidence of cohabitation.
Right.
Right? So if they move in and they're living there, then, the usufruct terminates.
That's right.
Because so many people aren't getting married these days. We don't want to mess up our benefits. We don't want to do this. And so they're shacking up. Well, it's the same
That's
stuff.
right.
So,
yeah.
I'll add that to my wills if they want to make sure that it's strictly until remarriage.
That's right. All right. Yeah. Let's go to a break. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers. We'll be right back with Justin because I think he has a question regarding Alvin Kamara and his situation, legal situation. So we'll be right back after this brief timeout on All Things Legal.
WWL, the Big 870 AM, 105.3 FM. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Place that I walked into and was blown away by.
Former pro football offensive tackle Mitch Schwartz talking about his jewelry store, Diamonds Direct.
You're getting the best quality and the most for your dollar, and I think Diamonds Direct does that as good as I've ever seen in the jewelry world.
Mitch and his wife Brooke love the selection, the quality, and the value at Diamonds Direct. But they also love the laid-back atmosphere and how the associates at Diamonds Direct really listen to their customers.
They're conscientious of educating you and understanding what your desires are and giving you the best value for what you're looking for. It was just a great environment, great atmosphere, making it easy to shop.
Diamonds Direct, proud to serve you with exceptional diamonds, handcrafted engagement rings, and fine designer jewelry.
We value our time and our money, and going to Diamonds Direct, knowing that they're going to value
Louisiana Citizens is an insurance company of last resort, period.
Diamonds Direct, your love.
I would only go with them if you could not get insurance coverage with any other company.
Spring is the perfect time for a refresh, and at Ashley, you'll find the pieces you love. Shop now with financing options for every budget. Get 60 months, no interest with no down payment. Ashley's biggest event of the year is going on now. Shop hot deals starting at $199. Plus, shop Ashley Sleep Doorbuster mattresses. Your choice Comfort Queen mattress, now only $399. Text 79975 to schedule your appointment today. The Orange event is happening now. In-store only at Ashley.
Is your Hurricane Ida insurance claim with your public adjuster stuck in neutral or going nowhere? Unfortunately, public adjusters do not have any enforcement powers to hold your insurance company accountable in a court of law. Many insurance companies will not deal with your Hurricane Ida insurance claim until a lawsuit is filed in court. We can help move your Hurricane Ida insurance claim across the finish line, even if you hire a public adjuster. Call me, Doug Sunseri, longtime WWL radio host and attorney at Nicaud and Sunseri Law Firm in Metairie and Mandeville for 504-837-1304.
Are you a business owner doing your own bookkeeping? Why? It makes no sense, literally. Focus on what you do well, like growing your business, and let Accounting Services Unlimited handle your bookkeeping. Hi, this is Thomas Ponce. Accounting Services Unlimited is insanely affordable and will come to you. Call for a free quote. Accounting Services Unlimited, 504-717-6253. That's 717-6253. Or visit us at asu-llc.com.
Homeowners, it's Newell. If you live in Jefferson Parish, you know who to call when you've got a clog. Pipes R Us Plumbing. But what about when your water heater breaks? Or you need a new appliance hooked up? Or you want to update your kitchen or bath with new faucets? Pipes R Us does all of that too. A+ rated with the BBB and locally owned for 17 years. So, for home plumbing repairs, water heaters, faucets, and more, call Pipes R Us Plumbing and let them peek in your pipes. Online at pipesrusflorida.com. LMP number 2953.
Join us at Odyssey as we all do our one thing. 7 million things for our planet. March is spring cleaning, so clean out your old harsh cleaning products and replace them with products that are green certified. Better yet, make your own cleaning products using items like baking soda and vinegar. Also, get rid of hazardous materials such as paints, motor oil, and pharmaceuticals at proper disposal locations to keep them out of the water supply. When we each share our one thing, it becomes 100 things, 1,000 things, 1,000,000 things for our planet. What's your one thing?
Hey, I'm Andy. If you don't know me, it's probably because I'm not famous. But I did start a men's grooming company called Harry's. The idea for Harry's came out of a frustrating experience I had buying razor blades. Most brands were overpriced, overdesigned, and out of touch. At Harry's, our approach is simple. Here's our secret. We make sharp, durable blades and sell them at honest prices for as low as $2 each. We care about quality so much that we do some crazy things, like buy a world-class German blade factory. Obsessing over every detail means we're confident in offering a 100% quality guarantee. Millions of guys have already made the switch to Harry's, so thank you if you're one of them. And if you're not, we hope you give us a try with this special offer. Get a Harry starter set with a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, shave gel, and a travel cover, all for just $3 plus free shipping. Just go to harrys.com and enter code JOY at checkout. That's harrys.com, code JOY. Enjoy.
Hey guys, I'm David Spade. Applause.
Coming back in 30.
Are we the host or something? Oh, Fly on the Wall. Now Dana, and I would never say this, one of Apple, Spotify, and Amazon's top podcasts of 2022. I'm just reading it. I would never say that. We both got our break on a little thing called Saturday Night Live. Each week we sit down with friends of the show and share stories and BS about the good old days of SNL. You can find Fly on the Wall, a presentation of Cadence 13, on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcast.
Come with me, my love.
All things legal with Doug Sunseri and Albert Nicaud on WWL and Odyssey Station. Connect now on the Oakland Heart Jewelers Talk and Text line, 504-260-1870.
We're back. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud. Colin just keeps it coming, man. Sea of Love. Who is that? Now, I don't have that. There you go. There you go. Let's go to the phone lines. Let's go to our friend Justin. He's got a question regarding Alvin Kamara and his legal situation. I think we can address that. Hey, Justin, what you have for us, brother?
Good morning, Doug.
Good morning.
Albert. First of all, a shout out to Cullen because not only is he fun to talk to, he plays great bumper music.
Man, it's the best. He look.
I have a question. Wait, what?
Amen. 10-4 on Cullen.
10-4. Anyway, I have a question about Alvin Kamara.
Yes.
His trial is coming up.
Yes.
My question is, why would somebody plead not guilty a charge he obviously is guilty of. If I was his lawyer, I would say just pay the fine, do the time, and move on. Why is he pleading not guilty when he did it?
I will tell you why. They want to buy time. And this is Alvin Kamara's best case scenario, would be that he cuts a civil deal, a payoff to the victim of probably several $1 million, and then get the victim to plead it down and then have an agreement with the DA, say, look, we resolved our differences. Will you plead it down to a misdemeanor? And if they plead it down to a misdemeanor, then it would be less likely that it would mitigate the suspension. Because if the NFL, if he comes back with a felony with jail time, okay, he will be suspended probably maybe the entire year. However, if they cut a deal where there's a civil settlement, much like Deshaun Watson, and maybe he'll plead to some type of misdemeanor, and they say the parties have resolved their differences, I would think that the NFL would have justification to maybe do more of a minimal suspension of maybe 2 to 4 games. Now you look at Marshall Lattimore was not suspended for his gun charge, so it just went away. Very interesting. And the NFL does not. I'm going to say this. I'll be criticized for it. The NFL does not want to suspend Alvin Kamara. It is just basically based on public perception and public pressure. So what the dynamics would be, if you could make this look better and take a little bit of responsibility, do it in a way that's more like a traffic ticket than a felony. We'll work, we'll slap you on the hand and give the pretense that we're upset about it, but you'll be back playing very soon. So I think with the lawyers, I'm telling you, that's their end game. That's their best case scenario, and they want to buy 6 months to do that. Whether that will happen or not is a totally different question. And, a lot of, well, they have a decision to make, on several levels. First of all, do you want to invest long term with someone with those character issues? That's number one. Because these typically aren't isolated situations. I mean, they have to decide. They have to decide whether they want to have.
I don't know what Alvin Kamara is thinking, but why would he put his whole career in jeopardy over some assault? I mean, think about it.
Yeah. He wasn't thinking, and that's a whole. You can't take your mindset and apply it to a professional athlete, because some of them, the fame and fortune and their status doesn't allow them to see reality, and they have a view of themselves that isn't what they are. And so we got to go to a hard break, but I think that's the end game with the lawyers. They're going to try to cut a deal, get a misdemeanor, resolve it, and go to the commissioner and say, hey, it's all resolved. He was slapped on the hand. Let's mitigate the punishment. All right. Thanks for the call, Justin. Good to hear from you. We'll go on to our last break. Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers. We'll be right back after this brief timeout.
WWL, home of your New Orleans Saints. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Monday morning with me, Tommy Tucker. We'll review the NFL Combine with Mike Detillier. And in less than a month, the City Council has to decide on new short-term rental policies. We'll talk about that and a whole lot more. So join me, Tommy Tucker, always live. We're going to be cutting it like 6 till 10 a.m.
So we got about a minute or two, or
Maybe, yeah. If we want to, I can just not even do
yeah. Just go music, and I'll just go jump in.
We'll look at it.
Okay.
Time to, think about
Yeah. Okay.
The indifferent have only one soul, but when you love, you have two. Of course, when you love, there's only one place to go for wedding jewelry, and that's Oakland Heart. But don't take Madeleine Descudeli's word for it. Listen to what Joseph said in his online review. These people care about their profession and take care of their customers. Their jewelry speaks for itself. Amazing experience all the way around. Oakland Heart is constantly searching the world diamond markets for the most beautiful natural diamonds you'll ever see. Every diamond we sell has been personally selected by a member of the Oakland family. And then we put our master craftsmen to work, creating one-of-a-kind rings you'll treasure toujours. It's true. Say it like, there's a great work of art in every box from Oakland Heart on Metairie Road.
There's an RV super sale going on now on I-12. 5 dealerships, hundreds of brands, thousands of motorhomes, travel trailers, fifth wheels, and toy haulers to choose from. The RV dealers in I-12 are coming together and they're having a party March 10th through 12th. It includes millions of dollars in inventory and some of the lowest prices ever. Thousands of dollars in savings, manufacturer reps on site, and immediate delivery. It's all happening on I-12, and you're invited to the super sale at Ben's RV, Maryland Cameras, Great American RV Superstores, the RV Shop, Steve's RV Center, and at I12supersale.com.
Hi, this is Shane Mulkey with Vinyl Tech. Time's running out to get your supplements in from Hurricane Ida for your roofing, siding, and gutters. Give us a call today so we can find the damage your insurance adjuster missed and get you a full replacement where you can even pick a new color in most cases. You can reach us at 504-469-7590 or online at vinyltechnola.com. We're here for your roofing, siding, gutters, and windows when you need us. vinyltechnola.com.
I'm Insurance Commissioner Johnson. If you're on Medicare with limited income, you may qualify for help paying your premiums, deductibles, and prescription drug costs. Limits on income and assets for these programs have changed, so you may qualify for help now, even if you were denied in the past. Call our Senior Health Insurance Program at 1-800-259-5300 to see if you can save on your Medicare costs.
Brought to you by the Senior Health Insurance Information Program.
Spencer Callahan is the one to see. Call 475-2323.
LA 121 1274. Offices in Baton Rouge.
Call 475-2323.
Hey, Slidell, we want your stuff. Dependable storage now open. Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
This story is called The Ugly Truth About Timeshare. If you think
We'll come back with like a minute 30, minute 40.
you need my help. Hello, I'm Chuck McDowell, CEO and founder of Wesley Financial Group. 10 years ago, I started helping folks cancel their timeshare. In the process, started what's now called the timeshare cancellation industry. Timeshare is the only thing you can buy if you can't tell me how much it's going to cost or what it's going to do. With timeshare, you give them a flat bill. Stop the insanity today. Call my office now. If we take you as a client, I guarantee we'll cancel your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call for your free information kit.
Come back in 5 seconds. I'll get 333 over there.
800-885-3333. 800-885-3333.
Hey, we're back. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers, all things legal. You give us a call at our law firm if you have any questions, 504-837-1304, 504-837-1304. Albert, got about a minute to go. Anything you want to do in a wrap?
That's about it. I hope everybody has a great week, and we'll see y'all next week.
Yes. All right. And are you doing the St. Patrick's Parade next week?
I am, yeah, as a matter of fact, so I might likely be off next Sunday.
Is it open invitation for all listeners? Of course. Okay. And where's the bathroom and the bar? Just tell everybody where the bar is. They can just walk in, get a few drinks, use the bathroom, and leave. Right on the road. All right. Well, y'all have, yes. And St. Patrick's and St. Joseph's is the next week. All right. Well, again, you give us a call, 504-837-1304. If you have any questions off air, we'd be glad to address it. And it's a beautiful day today. Get outside, enjoy it. And we'll see you next week on All Things Legal. Be good and be blessed. We'll see you next week. Thank you, Colin.
You too, Doug. You too. I'll catch you next week.
Okay.